Hey everybody in YouTube land, this is your friend ECW fan, the collector, and it's time for another monthly movie pickups volume, and this is coming to you for April. Now, this past month you saw some stuff I picked up in the vlog video, and I think it was might have been near the end of August or something. I picked up something, but hell, I can't remember. Anyhow, you saw a good bit of stuff that I picked up from Larry's. But this stuff that I've seen here is from pawn shops and thrift shops. And I don't think there's anything from Larry's. And I think it might be a Goodwill too, or pickup here, and a Dollar Tree find. So let's get to it. I'm going to show these movies off, and it's not a big bunch of movies, but hey, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at what I picked up. So, and yes, that's the Final Fantasy VII thing. Let me turn it down just a little here there. I love the Final Fantasy thing. So I decided to hit y'all with something a little bit different because I've been doing Call of Duty thing. So anyhow, one of the very first pickups I made was at the Goodwill actually, and the Goodwill had this animated classic called Watership Down, and the disc was in great shape. Our local Goodwill had this, and this is the first time I've seen it, in person to buy. And Watership Down is based on a novel, and this is not a friendly Disney movie. I learned that as a young kid when I watched this once, and I learned that lesson very quick. It's one of those movies that if you have kids, you might want to wait a few years before they're a little bit older watching this. So, Watership Down is a very good movie, by the way. Now, this one at the pawn shop, I was kind of shocked by it because I popped it open and I checked the disc, right? Because I'm always checking the discs at these places. And that's always the thing, I've preached it so many times in videos. A cleaner can only clean a disc so well. Check your discs, make sure they're in working shape. Because I've had to return so many. And thankfully, Cheap Thrills and these other places have done it. And Larry. But, when I was doing Shrek, I picked up Shrek 2, right? There's Shrek 2, right? So, below it, I didn't realize. I thought this was a 2-disc set. This was actually both films. Somebody had put both films together in this. And the discs are in great shape. They put both films in Shrek 2. I didn't realize. I thought this was a 2-disc set. And because I looked at the back of it, and I said, well, that must be all the stuff on the second disc. And I was like, holy crap, somebody put the first movie in there at the pawn shop. And like I said, I'm still amazed by that. But, that's probably a rare treat that I'll get, that somebody actually put 2 Shrek movies in the same case. I'll have to find a separate case for it. I'll have to buy an empty case eventually. Now, the last animated movie I picked up it's the Easter Beagle, Charlie Brown. Yep, Charlie Brown is celebrating Easter in this film. In this one. This includes a bonus TV special called it's Arbor Day, Charlie Brown. And it's one of those lesser known ones. I think they would put the lesser known specials on these discs of the well known ones to promote them. But yeah, the Arbor Day one I don't really remember. I do remember the Easter Beagle one where Snoopy was like going around throwing around eggs like the Easter Bunny. That was kind of unique. Now, I didn't get much action movies at the pawn shop, but I did find a brand new copy of, and this has never been opened, it is License to Kill with Timothy Dalton. When he, because they revoked 007's License to Kill after an attack on somebody But he got his he had to go out there and he had to get revenge. And it's really a unique film that, the 007 has a license to kill. It's like, okay, you have a license, James Bond, to kill. And we're revoking it. Or suspended. You're on suspended kill license. Like a suspended driver's license. But yeah, never been open. I was kind of happy to get this. And when I grew up, the Timothy Dalton James Bond movies were my ones I saw. Like The Living Daylights, which I really liked, and License to Kill. So it was kind of nice to find these two. I'm going to put this right here for now. Now this one actually will save me a lot of room on space. And there's like 2 or 3 movies I could actually save on this Essential 4-pack, which is really wild because there's RoboCop, The Terminator, Red Dawn, and Roadhouse. This is probably one of those weird, cheap Essential 4-pack movies. Weird set. Yeah, it's very weird. All the discs are in great shape, by the way. I popped it open. Just a very, very weird set that you would never expect all these 4 movies to be on together. But yeah, pretty unique. Now, going to some comedy. In the 90s, Jim Carrey was flying high. He had done The Mask. He had done The Riddler and Batman. He had done Ace Ventura. He was basically on a roll. He was hitting roll after roll. So Jim Carrey decided to do a dark comedy that not many really liked back then. And it was called The Cable Guy with Matthew Broderick. And Carrey's character was basically this dark character that loved cable TV. That, you know, he didn't have close friends. He didn't have friendships. He just bonded through TV sitcoms. And he finds this guy, Matthew Broderick, and he just terrorizes him. He's just crazy, man. He just he's the cable guy. And the comedy was too dark at the time, and fans really didn't know what to make of it. And it really was Jim Carrey's first bump in the road. And I think he's always said that The Cable Guy sounded like a good movie, and it could have been, you know, it was really a decent movie. It's just, it hit. Oh yeah, Dumb and Dumber was another hit that Carrey had at this time period. But yeah, it was just one of those rare road bumps, and he had to keep going. And but yeah, it's not a bad movie. The Cable Guy isn't. It's just a dark comedy, and I don't think Jim Carrey's fans were ready for it at that time. Now here's a fun little known comedy, and there's 2 actors that people probably didn't realize did a movie together. It's Robert De Niro and Sean Penn. And he was with Demi Moore in this one. Demi Moore. I don't know. I was gonna say Demi Moore. I don't know why, but Demi Moore, Sean Penn, and Robert De Niro all starred in Were No Angels. And basically at the time, this was a pretty funny prison escape comedy with these 2 guys that was escaped from prison, and they pose as priests. And basically the 2 of them's like trying to stay on the lam, and they're like, and one of the funny scenes is one guy's confessing about committing adultery, and he's like, you could tell the details, you know. He's like, and it's just funny, you know, with him trying to stay hidden. But yeah, Were No Angels, one of those films I never expected to find in the Goodwill. I think I found it and Watership Down at the same time. Now here's one I found at the pawn shop, and I have never seen this movie before, but they said this is a little known Sam Peckinpah film, and it's from the Nazi perspective. It's called Cross of Iron. Okay, it's got James Coburn, it's got James Manson, and it's told from the Nazi perspective. And Orson Welles called it one of the best anti-war films made. Well, I've never heard of this film, and I saw it in there at the pawn shop, and I was like, I've never heard of Cross of Iron, and you know, it sounds really unique. And it come out, I believe, in 1970s. Yeah. And it actually come from one of those libraries. And look at where this film come from. You know, I live in WV, West Virginia, but look at this. It come from New York. Yeah. Come from New York. So I was like, New York Public Library. Somebody had either bought these from the public library back in New York City and brought them all the way to my state, where they now rest in my collection. Quite a journey. Quite a journey. But I can't wait to watch Cross of Iron to see how good it is. Now this one is, well, here's a hint what this movie is.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
Okay, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. I gotta admit, that's pretty funny. I'm mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take it. Yeah, it's Network. Still mad as hell after 30 years. Mad as hell. I'm gonna look over at Eddie one day we're riding. I'm mad as hell and I'm not gonna do it anymore. I'm gonna keep that clip. That's probably one of the funniest clips. But yeah. I've never seen Network. I've never seen it. This has never been opened. I found this at the pawn shop. Never been opened. This looks unique. You know, I've never seen this movie, and I've heard it's highly regarded. So to this set, but yeah, I'm gonna be riding with Eddie and CJ. And I'm gonna.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore.
Speaking of a guy that had a breakdown that became mad as hell, I picked up this classic, and Eddie. I remember me and Eddie both liked this one. It's Michael Douglas at Falling Down, and I've told my friend Frank about this movie. Basically, Michael Douglas's character is a father who's separating from his wife. All the pressures of living and just, you know, it just all comes crashing down on him one day, and he has a breakdown. He gets a gun, and he just goes out, and I think he tells the cop, he said, "I was you," and then things, you know, went wrong. There's the restaurant scene where he goes into a restaurant and just scares the people in the restaurant to death, and, you know, the fast food place. It's basically, like I said, it doesn't normalize Michael Douglas. It just basically shows a man that has a breakdown, and there's no way out of it for him because he's went too far. But it's a nice 90s. It's one of those nice movies that I always wanted to get. Now let's move on from. And, you know, I picked, this must be my Academy Award-winning month, because I picked up Unforgiven. Brand new, never been opened in the pawn shop either. Unforgiven. Oh yeah. I love this Western. And I've always wanted to get this. And I told Eddie one time, if I could ever find Unforgiven in great shape, I'm going to pick it up at the pawn shop. Well, I found it, Eddie. Here it is. Through the month of April, I found it. So I'm very happy I found that. Now let's get to the horror section. Oh yeah. I picked up some good stuff this month. And one of these I was supposed to show last month, and I got busy and I never did do it. So you're going to see it here. It's going to be the last one here. It's going to be the last one of the DVDs. But, oh yeah. So here we go. I picked up the 2-disc Shrek pack with Flesh for the Beast and Dead Right. I've never seen these movies. Flesh for the Beast and Dead Right. I've never seen them. Flesh for the Beast. I'm trying to see when this come out. I'll have to look it up. But it looks like it's a little bit an 80s movie. But yeah. Dead Right. Flesh for the Beast. Kind of intrigued. I did like that scary part, Dead Right. There. Now this one I watched. I watched this on Tubi. And this is a really damn good film. The budget isn't big in it. And the ending to me should have been changed, worked a little bit better, but it was good. It was good. It's called Howl. It's a UK werewolf movie. Howl is a low-budget UK horror movie, and like I said, I got this from the pawn shop, and it's very good. You know, the characters are on a train, and everything seems to be okay. And then, but yeah, Howl has some good jump scares in it. Howl has some good stuff in it. It's not the typical werewolf movie. If you're expecting a typical werewolf movie, it's not like that. Now here's one that I picked up at Cheap Thrills, and I cleared this movie off some trade-ins. It is Basket Case. Oh yeah, Basket Case, Eddie. I can see Eddie going, yeah, Basket Case. The remnant in room 7 is very small, very twisted, and very mad. Oh yeah. I've always heard good things about Basket Case. I think Eddie's told me about this movie too. Sold as a package, do not separate. I like that at the end. Look at that. Sold as a package, do not. Okay, that's pretty good. Got that from Cheap Thrills. Another one I got from Cheap Thrills, and this one actually is one that this gives me the first 8 seasons of The Walking Dead. The first 8 seasons. All I need is 9, 10, and 11. And I don't know if I'll get them all eventually, because Rick leaves after season 9, and the show kind of just I lost interest in it. But season 8 was one of those where Rick and Negan's war, the Negan war was coming to an end. So I like this one. I didn't like what they did with Carl, of course. I think Carl should have been kept alive, but it is what it is. Now we're going to get to the curse of Humpty Dumpty. Found this in the pawn shop. I've never seen this. He'll crack you up. The curse of Humpty Dumpty. Oh yeah. The curse of Humpty Dumpty. Never seen it, but it looks interesting as hell. Will it be better than The Night of a Thousand Cats? We'll see. Now, I've got the first of this. I got this movie, I think, last month, the first one. Well, I got the DVD of Return to Salem's Lot. Return to Salem's Lot. And I've always heard this movie wasn't as good as the first one. Salem's Lot. Population dwindling. Primary industry. Terror. This is the UK version, as you can tell. Recommended for mature audiences. And I picked up Asylum of the Dead at the pawn shop. I like this one because, like I said, I like zombie and horror movies, and this one looked, and it's got Michael Rooker in it. Michael Rooker. It's got Haley Duff in it, but Rooker, I had to pick it up for him. Walking Dead guy, I had to pick it up for that guy. That's just that. And now we're getting to the final DVD pickup, and this was one I made a trade-in on. I had picked up a couple movies, and I took them into Cheap Thrills to trade to get this price down. And Eddie found me this one last month, and I should have showed it off. I don't know what I was thinking about, but pretty much I walked in and I got this one. It's the John Carpenter Master of Fear 4-film collection. It's got The Thing, Prince of Darkness, They Live, and Village of the Damned. Now, I don't have Village of the Damned, and I didn't have Prince of Darkness, and I needed They Live. So, basically, I was getting The Thing, so I traded it back in, never opened it. So, pretty much I've got all 4 of these films now on DVD, and that's pretty nice. I've got all 4 of them now, and I don't need them. They Live and The Thing are the 2 films I wanted by Carpenter, so that's pretty good. Now let's get to the Blu-rays and end this video. And I only picked up 2 of these Blu-rays, and this was, one of these come from Dollar Tree, the other one come from Cheap Thrills. The one from the Dollar Tree is Ocean's 8. And Ocean's 8 is the story of Danny Ocean's sister, which is Sandra Bullock, Anne Hathaway, Kate Blanchett. It's an all-star women's cast, basically redoing, in a sense, the Ocean's trilogy. Ocean's 8 did okay at the theaters, and it's never had a sequel. You would think that they would do Ocean's 9, but I guess that they held off of it. But Ocean's 8 has these women all get together to pull off a bank heist, because it's Danny Ocean's sister. And it's pretty good setup, pretty good setup. Because, I mean, if you want to keep the Ocean's franchise going, you have to reinvent it in some way. So having a group of women pull off a bank robbery is the ideal idea. And the final one I picked up, and this one, now, the first film in this series, there's been 3 or 4 films in this series. And the first one was really great, really good. Second one, not so much. Third one sucked. I think there's been a 4th one and it sucked too. But yeah. I'm talking about Jeepers Creepers. Jeepers Creepers, the first film in this, is really darn good. And I mean, it's very terrifying, and I mean, the ending alone is just, oh man, that ending will creep you out. Spooky, man, spooky. They basically kept doing sequels to it, and they just made the character of the creeper just, they ruined the character's mystique, his aura, of what he does and how he hunts. And I like the first one, and I won't get the rest, but the first one, Jeepers Creepers, will go into my horror collection. And that's it. That's it for May, or for April. I don't know what I'll get for the rest of May, but that's my collection of films for the month, and what you see in the vlog. I think I've had a very good movie month for April so far. So I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you for liking, subbing the channel. If you have any suggestions for movies or comments or want to mock me for some of my choices, drop a comment. I'll be happy to get this by you. I'll be happy to take a suggestion. So thanks for watching, and I think I'm gonna go watch some Humpty Dumpty.